Yes, everyone, welcome back. As always, we're here every Tuesday. Strong Witness. We do it 6 p.m. Central and wherever else you are. I know it's 7 Eastern. Our guest is in Eastern time. So I just thank you so much for joining us again. If you can do it right now, please tag, share with other people so that they'll be able to join in and be another part of this storytelling session. Tonight's topic, our guest is going to be sharing on domestic violence and how she's a survivor of domestic violence. But I always do this little check in the beginning, even though, I want you guys to think about it. Again, the power of story. I always ask every week, okay, what stories did you share today? What stories did you share this week? What stories did you hear this week, today, that either blessed you, that opened your eyes to something that you weren't aware that you even needed to hear or were thinking of, that thank you for sharing, Casey, that helped you understand somebody more. And so we always talk about this power that comes with storytelling. And remember, nobody can share your story like you share your story. Now, we can both have the same experience. We can both be in the same place at the same time. We can both see something with our eyes, but how we share the story, that's my story. That's my narrative. This is my truth. And so nobody can come and share your story. Nobody can come and steal your words because it's the power of your story, right? So a very strong part of storytelling is sharing and me being more in touch with the narrative that I have. Another powerful part of storytelling is listening to somebody else's story, which is exactly what we're going to do tonight, right? So now maybe my eyes are open to an experience that I didn't have myself, but now it's giving me more insight. It helps me to understand the person that's sharing, and I'm better to able to understand issues that are going on in the world. A lot of times we're blind to things because we don't listen to story, we don't understand story. And then lastly, stories build community, and that's the part that we appreciate, especially here in Strong Witness. That's what I say to people: we're a storytelling community, and this is how we flow. So I'm about to bring our guest up. So I do appreciate her. She is on that Eastern time. I miss being on the East Coast. Shout out to New Jersey and everybody in New Jersey. But she's going to come up and she's going to share her story. And the title I gave to this one is She Remembered Who She Was. And so as she shares, I really want you to listen to her words and just really connect with her. And I'm going to bring up Miss Glendora. How you doing?
What up? What up? What up?
And I thank you so much for joining. Before you even start sharing, I should have said this too a moment ago. I saw the way I got connected with Glendora was I saw her Facebook post on a magazine cover, and I was like, wow, she's putting herself out there. She has a story to tell. I'm drawn to stories. If I hear somebody got a story, if they're telling part of a story, if it's anything where somebody is being vulnerable and transparent, I feel like I just gravitate to it because I think there's so much power and so much courage in that. Because I think as people, we don't have to, but we do. And then so I reached out. We have a mutual friend, and I reached out to Doc Holly is what I call her. I reached out to Holly and I said, Holly, can you do an introduction, and I could see if she would be willing to come share. So that's it. Shout out to Holly. Thank you, Holly. I think she's watching on YouTube. So I thank her for even connecting us. So I just really want you to introduce yourself first before we open up with the story telling.
Okay. What up? What up? What up, though? Hey, y'all. Hey. I am Glendora Divine. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm board certified in telemental health. I'm a business coach to therapists. Basically, clients are in the mental health profession. So I'm a business coach to them. I help them build, scale, and grow their private practice and group practice. Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. So I'm gonna move out the way, and I'm just gonna let you flow as you flow, and then we'll go from there. Or do you want me to stay on? You want us to do this together? Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna move out, and I'll let you just flow with your story.
All right. So, hey y'all, hey, this is my first time getting into story time, and I felt like this would be a good opportunity to do it when she called. Everything was lining up right, so it was like a no brainer to go ahead and do this show as well. I am married. This is my second marriage. So my first marriage, it was a lot first of all, we dated for 5 years. We were engaged for 2, and we were married for 4. Um, the domestic violence actually started before I actually got married to him. But when you in your first relationship, you kind of can't nobody tell you nothing. You gotta go and experience. So even though the red flags were there because all the men in my family did not like him, it was still my opportunity to be grown. Be grown. That was that first relationship, and y'all felt being grown too. So even though they did not, approve, I still went forth. What pushed me into the relationship, I felt like it was just the opportunity to get out my dad's house. I was raised by my father. It wasn't no abuse or anything going on there. It was just the simple fact that, he had married another lady. He brought a lady into the home, and she had 3 kids, and I really felt like she was about her kids and not his. So she wasn't the best stepmother for me. So it was time for me to go because I was feeling like, he's paying attention to her and not what she is doing and how she act towards me or my 2 brothers. So I was like, yeah, it's just time for me to go ahead and age on out. And, you go with who you were dating, who you liking, and then who you're screwing, and that's what I did. I followed him. So that led me to college. That led me living with him and all of that. And then, like I said, it was after I started with college and ended up coming home. We got married, and the reality set in. And it was even to the point where I was saying, like I was raised by my father, and he raised me and my 2 brothers. So with that being said, we were sent away to Mississippi because we was residing in Detroit. So every summer we would go to Mississippi and stay with our grandmother, his mom. So we was raised in church a lot. So when we go to Mississippi, we was really ingrained in the Baptist church and the revivals and all of that. And then when we came back to Detroit, we were really ingrained in church because that's when my dad had the help of my mother's father and his wife. And what they would do is take us to church every Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Don't let nothing be going on that week because we there all week, and then on Saturday and Sunday all day. Yeah, we lived that life. So I was really prone to wearing slips. Remember those slips and stockings? Okay, so when I got here, and I married this dude, and the reality set in that this ain't how I was living before I met him. So what I noticed is that I were crying a lot. It was a lot of, and I'm from my dad and my 2 brothers, so I fight. What? We're going to swing, we fighting. So you go through all of that. I went through all of that, standing up for myself. I went so far as to wearing turtlenecks in the summertime in Detroit, which is really crazy because Detroit really only get about a good 3 weeks of summer. Okay, so it was like noticeable. And this girl that I worked with at the doctor's office, she literally called me out and she was like, "Hey, why you got on that turtleneck?" And I'm like, "Girl, stop playing that." And she was like, "He fighting you, he hitting on you." And I was like in shock that honestly that she was able to tell me my business. But then I thought about it, like she explained it, you got on turtleneck and we live in the D. Yeah, so that really didn't make sense. He was basically, I was staying away. I'm the social butterfly. And so I'm always like at my dad's house, at my brother's house, at my uncle's house. I'm at everybody's house, like, hey. And it got to the point where, with what was going on, I wasn't trying to let nobody see me. And the reason why I was really trying not to let nobody see me because my brother, my older brother, and my uncles, they just wasn't playing that. And if they were going to find out, I knew that man might lose his life. And I really did not want that on my hands. I would rather just fight him myself than put that on my hands because I knew that my people were serious. We are from Detroit. So I remember one day I had told him, maybe you should, because I'm in school the whole time to be a therapist. And so, I'm like, well, maybe you should write out your feelings and, and so you can just get it out and express yourself and not hold stuff in. I even tried going through counseling with him, seeing a marriage counselor. And I remember the marriage counselor telling us, it's really not you, ma'am, it's him. I need to see him by himself. he wasn't trying to hear none of that. I remember he didn't have deodorant, and he would come home and just go off on me because there was no deodorant. He didn't have deodorant in the home, or he got a flat tire and on his while he was out, and I'm the reason he got a flat tire, even though I didn't drive his car. It was just a lot of immaturity within himself, and I think what I was doing was honestly making him be held accountable to it, and literally put him in a position now if you're going to honestly grow up or you're not. And he actually came from money, so he kind of didn't have to work as much or as hard, even though it was expected, but it was half as expected because his parents still would give him an abundance. He would have credit cards up the ass or whatever, so he got it twisted on what the reality of actually being a hard worker is in life. So I would get all of that, and I didn't feel like the family really was helping me. His immediate family, I was even told by some of his immediate family, like, you should leave him, you shouldn't be in this relationship. The thing that was holding me in is the fact that I literally married him. I married him, and I honored the marriage. I honor what I did in front of God. And that's what was really holding me back. And I remember one day that we had got into a fight altercation, and I was really just over it. And I don't even know how I did what I did, but I said, he was literally was spit in my face. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just over this. Don't come near me. And I had just finished washing dishes, y'all, and it was a whole stack of dishes like lined up all the plates and stuff. And I just, for whatever reason, held my arm up like it was a guard, and I just lined every last plate towards him. And they were just shattering left and right as he blocked them. So at the end of it, I was like, just call the police. And he was like, what's wrong with you? Now I'm crazy now. What's wrong with you? He's gonna call the police. So I'm like, well, hell, they take it too damn long. Let me call them. And come to find out, he did not call him. So I ended up placing the call when I did call him. And when the police got there, it was one guy, and he said, he came to the door and he said, you know what are you doing? What do you go to school for? And I said, well, I'm going to school for psychology. He said, if I have to come in here, if I see any blood or anything, I got to give you a charge of domestic violence, and that's a felony. It's going to be on your record. And I was like, what are you talking about? Hold on. And so his sergeant pulled up. And so when the sergeant pulled up, he waved the sergeant on and was like, hey, it's all good. I got this. I was like, okay. And so after that, and before he left, he was like, listen, get yourself together. And, you don't have to live like this. You're not supposed to live like this. And this gets worse. So after he said that, I went through the story of dang, I really am on the verge of, catching a case, being a felon. What the hell? So what am I doing? Because this is not how I have seen my daddy be with women. He ain't never hit no damn women he ain't never spit on no damn woman. I ain't never seen him call nobody no bitch and no hoe. I haven't seen this, so why the hell am I doing this to myself? And I was like, is God gonna be mad at me? And that's what I kept saying, like, damn, I just don't want God to be mad at me for leaving this marriage, because I stood in front of him and I told him that I will do right by this man. I really don't want God to be mad at me. And then one day I literally was like in the kitchen, and we had after the kitchen was the living room, and it was a window, and the window was like piercing through the sunlight. It's just like the sun was just like beaming through on this bag. Now it was this bag that he carried with him all the time. And so I was like, I just went to the damn bag. I don't know why. I went to the bag and I just looked over and it was like a letter. It was a white piece of paper with red writing. And I was like, what is this? So I just picked it up, and it was a straight hate ass letter. It was all about how I hate you, you get on my fucking nerves, you just hate. It was just so evil and wrong. It's just wrong. So when he came around, I said, hey, you wrote this when he was angry, and he was like, "Yeah, well, you told me when I'm upset to just go ahead and write out my feelings, so that's what I did." I said, "You did that in red, and it says so much up in here." And I said, "This is truly how you feel." And he was like, "No, that ain't truly how I feel." You know how they talk real fast. I was like, "Okay, all right." And the next time that he came towards me with the mess, it was my time to say, I can't do this. And it was literally like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I did not have no gas in my car. And the money I had in my pocket was money he had gave me that morning for lunch. But I already knew how this relationship was. I don't want nothing from him because it was already too much negativity coming from him. And so I knew I needed to hang on to that and not spend that as much as possible. And so as soon as I said, "You know what, I'm not doing this no more," the first thing he said was, "Give me my money back that I gave you this money." Y'all, this was only 20 punk ass dollars. But I pulled that $20 out and I laid it on that table. I loaded that car up with all of my clothes. It was my car. And I got inside and called my girlfriend. She was like, "If you can make it to my house, I will put gas in your car." So I made it near her house, and we met at the gas station, and that was that. And that's what I knew at that point, that I have to be visible, I have to be confident, and I have to be competent in who I am and how I'm moving in life. And that's when I remember, God ain't gonna be mad at me. He can't be mad at me because I didn't live like this before I met this dude. So how in the hell is God gonna be mad at me if I leave this dude when I did not live like that before I met him, and God was all up in me and over me and all over around me? So I'm losing who I was. I'm losing. I wasn't going to church no more. I wasn't trying to go near no church because why? I'm too busy trying to work 2 and 3 jobs, go to school full time, and to become a therapist. So it really wasn't me putting no more time into trying to do anything else. And some of the problem used to be is that, of course, I did not want to work like that. And on top of I married this man, I wanted help and support, but feeling like I wasn't getting it, and it wasn't, and drinking and smoking it is not can't be the highlight of my life. What else is there for me to do? So I just kept doing whatever I could do, which is, okay, well, I'll go get another job so I can pay for this class. So that's what I was doing. But the epitome of it is that when I truly realized God is not going to be mad at me because he wasn't mad at me before I met this man. So I can only go up, especially if I just go where I was before I met him. And so, honestly, in order to have to cut that loose, it was a lot of really detaching and going into another level of life and not allowing him to interject himself into that life. And that's literally what I have done, of what I did. And I recommend it to anybody. When you already feel like you is not who you were before you met that person, and then the person that you are is crying, is sad, and is down and negative, it's time to make a change. That's my story. I hope I didn't tell it too fast.
No, that was good, and I thank you so much for sharing your story. I know I got some questions, and if anybody has any questions for Glendora, make sure that you put them in the comments. Um, but see, I have a bunch of questions. I was trying to take notes, but then something you just said, because you said being able to recognize that, okay, this isn't right, and then to get out of it. Like hindsight now, do you remember seeing red flags before when you were dating?
Yeah, of course. Anytime I was called out my name, and to the point where, so the problem is like when you're dating, and this is what I tell people now, just as a therapist generally, okay, we get into these relationships when we're young. When we first are in our parents' home and we first start to venture out and have these relationships, we like people, right? So I like you, you like me. We're in high school, we're leaving high school, and we start, okay, now I can start to really like you, right? So I think I like you for who I am, but honestly, I don't know who I am to be liking somebody because I ain't been in no relationships to determine who I am. Okay, so what happened is we get into relationships, we start having sex. Then we start having a kid, and we just start being just okay. We together. We're gonna be comfortable. We just go, but we really haven't identified who we are. What is it that we want to do, or what to accept, and what is it we don't. We don't. A lot of times we get into these relationships, and then the person will start joning us, and then we joan them back. Okay, now we joan it again. Now I'm offended. Now why you tripping? Why you gotta be offended? This is something we always do. This is how we always play. No, that shit get old. And you gotta be able to change and know that you don't want that type of relationship within yourself. And the only way that you can do that is by being with somebody. So it took for me to be with him to start to realize and decipher, you know what? You don't pray enough for me. Okay, I remember I love God. You don't pray enough. We don't talk about God. Why your mama gotta bring us groceries? Why did we need a couch? Why she bringing us furniture? Why? I don't want her to decorate my house. That's not cool with me. So in order for me to understand that, I had to get into that situation to say, you know what, that ain't my way. That's not my way. But a lot of times what we do is, like I said, I was trying to come up out my dad's house, right? Because I was aging out. On top of, I didn't like what he had brought in, right? So the first thing I'm gonna do is try to come on up out of there, right? And so as I come up out of there, what can I gravitate towards? Who can I gravitate towards? Well, it's the first dude that come up around me, right? They're showing me all this attention. So now he's showing me attention. I'm feeling grown. What I'm going to do, I'm going to continue to try and maintain and ride with this, not turn around and go back to my daddy house. So that's how we get caught up in these relationships and start to understand, like, this is not really for me. But then did you position yourself to actually come about this, real talk?
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. Like, and you're right. A lot of times, especially when we're younger, like hindsight looking back, we trying to figure out who we are, and then
Right.
we find ourselves,
And
oftentimes when it's too late, caught up, right, in entanglement, right, with somebody else. And sometimes we start searching for something we're getting from somebody else we really need to find within ourselves, and we make excuses or a ticket out of our current situation.
right.
There's a question for you here,
Mm-hmm.
from Casey, um, asking what was his problem. Was he just spoiled or didn't know how to be in a relationship? Also, why did his family tell you to leave him? Did they know something about his past that they weren't being upfront about?
So I honestly believe that he was truly spoiled, and he was truly spoiled, and he wasn't really focused on how he can become somebody and leave a legacy for himself. And so what happened was, because we had been together for a long time, his family, they seen who I was. They seen how I was and how strong headed I was, nurturing, motivated, self motivated, just determined and a go getter. And they were like, no, he's holding you back. This is not what it is. So they literally was telling me to leave to better myself. And honestly, it's been years, right? So because I'm married again, it's about to be 21 years in December. So, but some of his cousins all reached out to me since then. They like, I knew you was gonna be the best. I knew you was gonna be the bomb. I knew you was gonna do this. I knew. I remember. I still would say. I remember when you used to say. And I was like, what? You remember when I used to say? She like, listen, you was talking wisdom way back then. So they just sing already. And a lot of times, when you have parents that enable, that's what happened to the children when they become adults. They still don't. It wasn't nothing that he had done in his past or anything that he was holding in his past. It was just the fact that I don't believe he was really structured enough. So the hard work and shit just didn't hit him right. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he kind
Yeah.
of overskipped that. I mean, he went to college on scholarships and lost them all from partying.
Okay. He wasn't mature at all.
No,
Okay.
no.
And okay, it's something when the family, when somebody else's family tells you leave them alone.
Yeah, but it's still
You know.
something you don't listen to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another red flag, like we mentioned. But my pastor's on here, and she wanted you, if you can just speak to red flags again, like that one, like
Okay.
family comes, and even when you mentioned too, like you were raised by your father, and you
Yeah.
didn't see any of that in your father, like how your father's image
You know,
Your
my
mother wasn't like
dad was, even when he met my dad, he called my dad. He was like, "All right, Dad." My dad's like, "Don't call me that."
that.
Red
Red
flag.
flag. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, uh, and like I say, my dad, my uncle, my brother, nobody cared for him. Nobody welcomed him like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" It was never that open. Like it was always like, "There he go. Here come." It was always that. It was never that welcome and open. But again, to me as a young girl, I couldn't hear them because at the same time, this dude was still like, "Here, you want a car? Here's a car. Here's the keys to the car. Take me to work. Here, hey, don't worry about no gas in the car." Hey, so with that being said, it was blinding to the red flags because at the same time, he waving white flags.
Hmm. And he's shining. He putting the car in front of you. That
Yeah,
makes a difference.
car and another place to stay. So it was all of that.
Hmm. I bet you hear this one a lot because I was thinking the same thing after I first talked to you. That
Right.
you remind people of Tiffany Haddish. How often do you get that one?
Yes, I do. I get that.
Yeah.
I do.
Uh, yeah. So, what did you learn from
From
that relationship?
So honestly, what I learned from that relationship was I need to write out literally what do I desire in my life from my God. I learned at that point, ain't no more damn wanting. I learned at that point, the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want.
Hmm.
He makes me lie down. Let me
Hmm.
stop. But yes, all of that. That's when I started saying, girl, you better speak it right now. And so what I did was I grabbed a pen and a piece of paper and everything that I did not like, I did not desire, and I didn't know if I desired shit or not. Pastor, I'm sorry you here, but listen, pray for me. He loved me, okay? But my desire, I didn't understand how to speak with things of my heart, to desires of my heart. So I knew how to say I want. So I had to, and that was bothering me because I was raised in a Baptist church in Mississippi and in Detroit. So we were taught a lot of little scriptures that we had to stand in front of the church and say many days and many nights. So that stuff was still running through my head. So when I hear the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want, I still didn't understand how to apply it. Because soon as we get out of church, the first thing they say, y'all want chicken or y'all want spaghetti. So we
Hmm.
was back talking, so I still didn't get it. But then once I got out there and deal with them, I said, you know what? I remember if you speak the desires of your heart with your tongue, he will deliver. Let me go over what I do not want anymore. So let me write that out. So I started writing out from the rooter to the tutor, everything when I thought about him, about that relationship that I said I will not do a damn again. No. And so my friends, I always had like a big personality, straightforward. I don't sugarcoat shit. It is what it is. That always been me. I am the lady that was at the club and the dude walked up to me and he was shorter than me. I don't even want you to buy me a drink, dude. We good. And my friends would be like, "Don't say that. You're this on me." No, I'm not. I don't want to play with his mind or his time. He too short for me. Girl, this is all fine. Listen, I'm about to start rapping on y'all. Let me So what happened was when I wrote that list down, I was on this mission like I ain't gonna never get married again. I will not be doing that shit no more.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, I wrote that list down. I carried that list with me. I used to carry it with me because I wanted to keep looking at it and make sure I don't leave off nothing because stuff keep popping up like, remember that shit? No, I'm not doing that no more. And so I would keep writing stuff down. And then I was at work one day and this guy was with this other girl and these other guys, and I was like, oh, he look cute, but I really wasn't paying attention. But God did this, y'all. And then next thing you know, he turned around and they left, and I asked the girl because she didn't really work with me. And I said, "Hey, who was that dude?" Because she just worked in the area that I worked in, and she was like, "Who was that dude?" And I was like, I said, "Who that dude?" And she was like, "Oh, they grew up with me. They just trying to get a job." I was like, "Oh, well, he cute if he come back." So what happened was he came back, but I wasn't paying attention, and I was downstairs and he was upstairs, and he was staring. He was looking at me, and I was looking at him, and I like to be challenged. Oh, who? I would stare you down. Who you staring at? And so and apparently he was like, "Oh, you want to play games? Who you?" So we stared at each other like that, and the girl came and got me like, "Hey, Glendora, that dude is bad, and get a paper for his number." I said, "I can't get no paper. I can't be looking desperate. Hell, it ain't been 2 weeks. I said I ain't gonna never marry again. I ain't what girl?" She was like, "I carry it. I carry it. Okay, carry it." And so we actually ended up talking that day, and because of the way I'm built physically. I'm sorry, I have been Wendy Williams. I just always look better than her ass. But yes, but I was the P, skinny as a mess with the big old boobs, and so I got a lot of attention off of that. And that was another thing that was super annoying to me through meeting men. Period. So I dressed completely down and pulled my hair in a ponytail. The jumpsuit I had on was a size 3X. And when we went on our first date, and we basically sat there, and I went over that list, and I was like, "So, you ever been to college?" And I'm waiting to hear him say yes or nay. Because he said yes. My next question was, "Well, did you graduate?" Because the last one did. So we ain't doing that no more. So he was like, "Well, I went to the Marines." Oh, well, was that honorable or dishonorable? He said, "What? Was that an honorable or dishonorable discharge? I need to know where you standing with them peoples." And he was like, "Ain't nobody never asked me that." Welcome, my name is Glendora Divine. I'm on the interview. And nobody playing. And so I had a list of questions like that, and he just kept answering it and laughing and saying, "Girl, you be asking serious. I'm serious. It's a heart attack." And needless to say, 2 weeks later, I moved in. Needless to say, in December it'd be 21 years of marriage, and we ain't never
Aw,
none of that. So
congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah. So your husband now, he got vetted real good at
Oh
that table.
yeah, he had a whole application he had to go through. I'm telling you. Then here comes Sierra with her boo and talking about this year how she wrote this thing to get after her relationship with Future. Girl, I did that. Y'all pay attention. Network manifestation. Talk to him. Tell him what you desire, not what you want.
I think you said a few things that were good. Um, and
Thank you.
I like how you definitely vetted this one, especially after you said I'm not going back into that situation again, like at all. Absolutely not. But even when you talked about like going back even to your childhood and you said, yeah, in church they gave us these, they were teaching you the word, which
Mm-hmm.
like as the word says, it did not depart from you. You understood the word,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like that relationship. That's
How
what
to
you
apply it.
were, yeah, that's what you were missing with God, with Christ, that relationship and how much he loved you. But like the title of what we have, you remembered who you were when that word started coming back to you, right? And what was taught to you when you were younger. But also now, again, if we're looking at the good that came out of it or what we can pull out of it, it was that turned you back to relationship with him. Like in other words, like, okay, I had this word, but God, now I'm going to get to know you a little bit. I'm going to get to know you more and closer and better. And I'm going to put these things before you about what I really want in a husband. And
Right,
in a 2 week span, you got what you needed.
right,
Unfortunately, you went that way, but out of that way, listen, God, this took me back on course with you.
right. And so the thing about it too, I feel like that's so common for so many people. How I got into that relationship, how to get out of that relationship. So Sheila, I ended up creating an actual journal that actually structure you to pull it out the right way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's on my website. So and that's named it Dear John. And the reason why, because I really want you to break up with yourself. I do break up with that person that you didn't pick out boundaries for, that person that was there before you met me. break up with that person and let's start this over, okay? Because now we're gonna start it over, literally with no wants, straight desires from your heart.
And people can find that journal you just talked about. That's your website right there.
Yeah,
So,
let's take off the challenge part, just dsgeorgia.com.
okay.
dsgeorgia.com. The challenge is for therapists because that's who I work with now too. Mm.
Okay. So this is her website. You can go and you can find the journal that she mentioned.
Dear John.
Dear John journal. Okay, that's awesome. There's a couple more comments.
Yeah, pull it out. I'm telling you, use it because it's actually. I just try to help you get it right.
Mm-hmm. So Casey says she likes your method of dealing with next relationships.
Yeah, it's a true one, Casey. I truly do it because again, I think that we all like our culture was raised to understand to know of God, but not to apply.
Mm.
To know of who God is, to say Jesus wept, but not to apply it when we in the midst, when we're falling down, or when we're standing up. We're not able to apply it. So that's the part that I felt like I was missing in my life. That's really the part that I felt like I was missing, and that's when I said, you know what? Let me take back control of me and make sure that I am strategically moving in my life. And not just following. I was following him. I was following him. I was following him, but I wasn't making moves for me. And then when I started to realize that that's what I was doing, I was like, no, you're still going to go to school for this and go ahead and just do one class, damn it. But you're going to go, So that's what it ended up being.
Do you think that, like, do you, like, hindsight looking back, do you feel like you were missing that, like, mentor in your life or somebody that can help you apply his word, or like help to cover you and protect you? Like, I know you said, of course, you're raised by your father, which, and your brothers and your uncles, like protectors, right, and took care of you. But do you feel like you were missing that, just somebody to kind of like take you under their wing and just say, even if this is the word and this is how you apply it? Or, you know what, I noticed this, like your homegirl called you out for wearing a turtleneck. Do you feel like you were missing those relationships?
So I was missing, far as being covered, I don't think I was missing that at all. I think I'm heavily covered and favored. I do believe I am one of the chosen ones. Because every time somebody do something to me, they get messed up. Oh God! But anyway. But what I was missing in my upbringing and coming out was the reality of the woman figure, the mother figure. I didn't have that. I had, so all of my stuff been totally like man geared. So like, my dad was a really strong piece on my decisions and how I moved. And it really was based on, I knew I did not have nobody to go drop a baby off to babysit for me. I knew that. So having a baby was not part of the plan. That's just something that just wasn't, it just was not part of the plan. Not going through the motions, but just having an extra child just was not part of the plan. So with that being said, that's really what I was missing. I was always missing that woman, that lady that was going to say, hey, you can do this now. I had them to come, they came and they went. So, but I never had no one that was really consistent to be there. So after I realized, and that was another reason for me to want to be so easily to gravitate towards that relationship that was showing me that red flags and this is not how you're supposed to be. But again, it's because my dad was bringing somebody into our house, and and it wasn't a friendly environment that I was being at. So not getting it from her, not getting it from, and then witnessing her give it to her children. Now that was another, major thing. Like, so I'm seeing it, what I need and what I'm desiring, but at the same time, it's still in so far of a reach. So yeah, that's what I was missing.
Yeah, and I imagine that was just hurtful by itself. Like, you missing it, but then watching somebody else provide it ever so easily and gracefully to other people. That's
Yeah.
a hard pill to swallow.
Oh, it was a hard pill to swallow, but at the same time, I had a father that always said, "Don't you ask for nothing, don't you borrow nothing, and don't you beg. If you can't get it yourself, then you don't need it." So it was like, it was hard. It was hard for the reality of that ain't how you supposed to be, and you love Jesus. What? That's not how you do children like this. That part, or how you and then so that part was hard. But then at the same time, I still have my upbringing, this wall of, you know what, don't you borrow, don't you ask, and don't you beg. You handle shit yourself. You don't need nothing. You don't need nothing from her. You don't need nothing. Go get it yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
just having that, mentality too was another reason to be like, let me just get out here.
Do you think that part too, even when you come up that way, um, prevented you from being as vulnerable and seeking help sooner? Because it's kind of like, don't ask for help,
Definitely,
you get what you need. Yeah.
definitely did. I really didn't. I have so much respect for elders, and what my dad, how he operated. It took my husband to tell me, you know what, if somebody is wrong, no matter how old they are, their ass is wrong. You don't stop yes ma'aming them and letting them pass. Just go ahead and tell them their ass is wrong. I couldn't do that because I feel like, well, that's an elder, so, and just out of respect, he's like, no, ain't no respect. If the shit is wrong, it's wrong. So with that, it took me to step into that thought process to say, you know what, it's okay, and it's gonna be okay to just be who you are, and be around whoever's gonna receive you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Look, we got another Tiffany Hatch. I want you and Tiffany Hatch to get in the same room.
It's
I think this
coming.
is like, I think you two need to be in the same room, and so
It's
we can both. It's coming. You working
nice.
on it?
I just hope she nice. Oh,
I'm
Lord,
sure. I'm
Lord.
sure,
Hope
I'm sure
she
maybe
nice.
you'll be in Girls Trip Part 2 is the next one that you'll be in. Um, when you told about the story, even when you talked about the police officer coming to the door, like looking back now, do you see that moment as a blessing? Or do you wish that he would have heard the fullness of the story and took your husband out? Like, or was it like, listen, you needed somebody to tell you, hurry up, get things in order, get it
I think,
together, and then
I think
go?
that was the blessing. I think that was my ancestors saying, "Girl, get your ass on up out of here." I think that's what that really truly was. It was a like to say, step away, because my uncle and I got the fellas. Okay, so it just wasn't about supposed to be me. So so I think it was the way for me to not to go down that road. So it was definitely a blessing, and it was in the right time.
Hmm. Um, and something else you mentioned too. A lot of times we hear when people talk about domestic violence, and we know statistics, right? It people, women especially, don't usually leave on the first attempt.
Right,
That right. But when you told in your story, you were like, "No, I'm ready to go." And usually, we've heard stories, unfortunate stories, where the men either go find the woman,
right,
fight the woman, make you stay.
right.
But it almost seemed like that day when you made up your mind, like I'm out, he was like, "Just give my money," like, and then that was it. What? No.
No, 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 no. Nay, nay,
Okay.
nay,
Okay.
nay.
All right.
He
Well, help me with that part.
was a true domestic abuser. So he was basically, I went to my dad's house, and so my little brother, I had two little brothers who were still living with my dad, but they were grown, so they was in their early 20s. When I got there, it was like, I'll say about 3 o'clock, about 3 o'clock in the morning. I think I had to be to work like at 5. And so when I came through the back door, because we always had keys to my dad's house, and no matter how old you was or how grown you is, you still have keys to his house. So when I came through the back door at that time in the morning, my little brother and my dad was sitting up, and they was like, what are you doing? I was like, yeah, I left. I'm done. And I got to be to work at 5. And my little brother was like, I'm finna set the alarm. Go lay down in my room. I'll wake you up. And that was it. And so what happened after that, my brothers, they started being like, hey, what you doing on this side of town? Why you at this store? Why you at this block? Why you over here? Don't let me find you over here. Hey, we see you. We watching you. So they're now they looking for him. So it was the true black stuff. You know that happened down in the D. It was all there. So and so what I started doing it was going like I was my dad's house was the house that I was at, but I had girlfriends and I knew that he was looking for me and trying to drive around and I don't want my brothers and to do nothing for real. So I would spend one night at my girlfriend house over here, another night at my girlfriend house over there. So I would mix it up. He would try to call the job and I wouldn't accept none of the calls like that. And then he called me one time. He called me one time at the job and he was like, before you hang up, before you hang up, I just want to tell you, I started dating somebody and she was saying the same shit you was saying. So I think it is me.
He said, I think it's me.
No. No. Oh, okay. Well, see somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta go. And I really I just disconnected all communications as much as possible. And the reason why is because anybody that goes through domestic violence, you have to decrease that communication as much as possible. You have to change your environment as much as possible. If you listen to the sound of their voice, your ass ain't going nowhere. If you listen to the sound of their voice, they are the best you ever had. You ain't gonna have nobody
He
like
didn't call you just to say, "Hey, I had an epiphany."
no, yeah,
That
he
good
did.
luck in life.
That's what he was there. He did because and that's what he said. And I really didn't allow him to have a conversation no more. But it's the reality of to survive it. You literally have to cut all communication. So my brothers, by them checking him when they see him in our neighborhood, and letting him know we've been not catch you over here. You best keep driving your car. All of that for me changing my phone number ASAP, and for me like blocking the number at the job, trying to avoid them always, and just going from one house to the other house, and all of that helped. But like I said, after 2 weeks, I had moved in with my new husband. Judge me, I don't care.
No, it's okay. That's what the pastor asked too. You're still married 21 years this year that you've been married to your husband.
21 years. We have
That's
a
awesome.
15-year-old daughter. We had a 15. So even when I was with him before, I knew in my spirit that wasn't that wasn't right, because I wasn't never trying to bring no child. My dad raised me. My mama literally was partying in the streets. That's why she didn't raise me. And so I was like, I would never bring a child here, and I can't be with you. I gotta be the mama that I ain't fucking have. So this is not how I'm about to do this, because my dad didn't bring me. I never lived in no mess like that. Nobody. You literally was spitting in my face, dude. I don't want no child to see that shit. I mean, who taught you that? Ugh. So
And you haven't talked to him since that time you hung up the phone at work.
I
You've
have
never
not.
talked to him.
I have not.
Wow.
I have not. And then I had got even a little nervous because, like I said, his cousins found me on Facebook and they reached out. Like, I was like, oh. And I was like, hey, I really don't want him to know, I really don't want to hear from him, because my husband now is an honorable discharge.
I got you. Yeah. But even it's interesting too when you say, listen, when you were in the relationship and you were being abused, right? You were at that point, this domestic violence, this physical abuse, you were still very careful because you knew who you could call as
Yeah.
far as your uncle and your brothers, but you
Yeah.
didn't it sounded like you didn't
I
want
don't
them
want
to
that
get in
blood
legal
on
trouble.
my hand, because it was going to be blood. And I don't want that on my hands. I know, straight Detroit, 7 Mile. My people is straight Detroit, 7 Mile. So it was gonna be blood, and he was not from Detroit.
Okay.
He was from the suburbs. So you don't even understand what you're getting into. You don't even understand how some people don't have conscience. So I don't want that on my hand. And apparently, because I'm a server, I'm here to help as many people as possible find a way back to God or stay where they at with the Lord. So yeah, I can't. That just I wasn't gonna be right. I wasn't gonna be right myself. So I had to be like, I ain't seen him.
Yeah.
I think he in Nebraska.
Nebraska. um, and then did you feel any like what Pastor is saying, like I was supposed to ask this question too. Did you feel any guilt from protecting the abuser? Because you were also protecting your brothers and your uncles. You didn't want them to be held accountable for anything. Did you have to carry that weight of the secret too?
So it's like, do I feel any guilt? Did I feel any guilt for protecting the abuser? No, because the only thing I was protecting him from was dying.
Okay.
So I did not feel no guilt from not telling my people where he's at or where he could be. I was not doing that at all. So that was like no guilt. And then again too, I didn't want my brothers locked up. I don't want them catching the case. And I'm gonna tell you, my uncle, hey, I just was trying to let him see what his outside life is like. So, you know, well, we're just gonna try and just live our best life.
Okay, hopefully.
To this therapist and see who I can help heal.
I yeah. Did you have any? Huh?
You said keep the peace, like Anika.
Yeah. Keep the P. I guess she's from up there near Flint, right outside of Detroit.
Ain't no fruiter in the front. Somebody go get it.
Uh-huh. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. So if anybody else has any questions for Glenn, anything else you want to share, Glenn? I know you talked about for those that missed it, just talk one more time about the what they can find on your website, the journal that you
mentioned. Let's say two things. First of all, I'm a business coach to clinicians. I am a licensed professional counselor. I've been in business since 2010. And right now what I do is help clinicians build, scale, and grow in telemental health in their private practice or group practice. So I'm serious about being visible. I'm serious about being confident. Can you tell? And I'm serious about being competent in your business, okay? And I just feel like I have to say that because as Black clinicians, we have jumped out here and started our own private practice since COVID. I have been doing telemental health since 2014, so that's way before COVID. And so I really want to make sure that you guys don't get overwhelmed and stressed out and give up on your business. We need to see you out here just for domestic violence alone. So a lot of us go through this for the same reasons that I went through it. And so only way that we can really try and come out of it, if we can really find somebody that we can relate to, that look like us, talk like us, and that can help us, educate us, or lift us, or give us a different perspective on how to come up out of this stuff. So I really, if you are a mental health clinician, please join my challenge at dsgeorgia.com/challenge. Okay. Now, if you are a person looking for love in all the right places, and you can't get that shit right, then go to my website and go to dsgeorgia.com. I have a book on there. It's a journal, a therapeutic journal, and it's called Dear John, Time to Love Me. Because what I want you to do is change the way you're thinking and get it together. Do what I did, do what Sierra did, and get them. I came to Atlanta with my man from the D. I ain't come up in here looking for nobody. Okay, let me stop. But listen, yeah, I get it. If you get the book, reach out to me. Let me know that you got it. And honestly, y'all on here, if y'all get the book and reach out, let me know that you got it. I'm going to give you my office number so we can have a good 20-minute phone call on how you are to use it. And so you can manifest. And dingo, let me stop.
So wait, when they get the book, then you'll give them the office number and then they can reach out to you.
Yeah, then
okay.
We'll get and make a call.
And the book is on the website, dsgeorgia.com. That's where they can find you.
She said, do you accidentally cuss during sessions or on purpose? Laugh out loud. I am Glendora Divine, licensed professional counselor, board certified telemental health provider. I like to work with two types of people. One that is trying to get through something, or one that is trying to get to something. So if that is not you, then you tell me, who do you know? Now listen, when they get here or when you get here, please understand the way I talk is not your problem.
Uh-huh. You said that to your clients.
That's don't shoot the messenger, get the message and keep it moving. So yes, this is how I talk when I do my sessions. This is me.
You tell your clients that when they come in?
Yes, I tell everybody that. So hear me. This is me. This is how I talk. It just comes out naturally. I'm going to tell y'all, I thought everybody talked with cuss words. My dad, that's how he literally talked. Seriously, I didn't know that that shit wasn't right until I got to college and turned in papers, and they gave them back to me and said, "I can't read this because
Uh-huh.
it was descriptive." But
Yeah.
apparently, that's not how we talk.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So when they come to you, what you're saying is when they come in the door, you let them know, like, listen, this is how I talk. This is me. This is how I flow, and they're going to get some. They're going to get some words.
If this is a problem, then let me go ahead and refer you out
Okay.
because it is what it is. And see, I don't wait. I don't. It don't bother me because I love God, and all you doing is opening up the seat for Him to bring somebody else to me. So
Listen,
it ain't about what I'm how I'm saying it to you. Get the message because
my
I know what I'm doing.
my pastor said, I bet they forget what they came in for once you start get flowing and.
Honestly, Pastor, because
uh,
I do see pastors too. Yeah. Okay, but honestly, they don't. It's a good time, and a lot of what I hear a lot is that I'm real. They can relate, and I've been sustaining in business since 2010, y'all. So this was a full blown practice. So it's a good
we
time.
need we definitely need to we should all write Tiffany Haddish, get on her fan page or Facebook, send her the video, and y'all two need to get in the same room and do some type of some stand up or interaction because that'll be too real. I don't think and hilarious. So maybe I'm sure everybody need a therapist. Maybe Tiffany Haddish need a new therapist. And then we go from there. Uh-huh.
So laughter is the best medicine. If people want to take, a lot of, psychotropic medication, and the last thing they did is actually try to smile. Okay, so laughter is the best medicine. If you're not running around with people that make you laugh, change your circle.
That's true.
Friend me on Facebook. Get your laughter on. Listen, Linda, come. Let's do this.
Right,
Yeah.
right. All right, you got any words for what if somebody is watching right now, a male or woman who's dealing with domestic violence? Any words you want to leave with them in their
Yeah.
situation, or somebody who is a survivor but hasn't even dealt with the fullness of what they went through?
So, if somebody is actually active in a situation with domestic violence, I'm going to suggest that you go seek out counseling. I'm not going to suggest that you do telemental health counseling, so do not do it on the screen, on the computer, or your phone. Please go to an office where you can literally walk in. It's just for your safety, so you can actually get into a situation and be honest and transparent so you can come up out of it. So if you are actively going through domestic violence, then please seek counseling, but a counseling office where you can honestly go into the office, not telemental health. Okay. And the other question was
If they haven't dealt with it, so maybe maybe they're a survivor out of the situation, but still
okay.
haven't faced
So
anything.
even if you are a survivor out of a situation, I'm going to tell you domestic violence is post-traumatic stress. And you can be walking around with post-traumatic stress disorder. So what would that look like? That would look like if you end up somebody yelled at you and cussed you out all the time, and that made you fear for your life or the relationship that you were in, or if they were striking on you or spitting on you all the time. What will happen is you will automatically get jittery, get nervous, get anxious when that stuff starts to happen, and that person is no longer around you, but you might be in another crowd or around family members, and you see them about to get into it, and they started, and now you're starting to have a setback. You don't feel comfortable. So if you haven't dealt with it, I suggest that you do get a therapist, and you can do it on line on telemental health. So you can use the technology, assisted media, and use the computer, the cell phone, and you can get a therapist. You can reach out to me, you guys. It don't matter what state you in. I don't know where we're broadcasting, where you're gonna see it from. It don't matter what state you in. It don't even matter if you in Japan, because I know somebody in Japan. Don't play with me. We're gonna fix it. So if you are in that situation, talk to somebody. Listen, we are here. It is people that look just like you. You see me, look just like you, and you can come through this too. You can get with somebody that's professional, not your mama, not your daddy, not your friends. Get with a
Uh-uh.
professional. And I'm gonna say too, not your pastor. Get with some licensed professional counselor and actually go ahead and disclose and learn how to come up out of this. And you
Okay.
can still talk to your pastor too. We still want Jesus in there. Jesus go there.
Yeah. No, Pastor, she'll talk to us. She'll tell us the truth now. That's the
Thank you.
that's the beautiful part about it. This you just got a couple more comments. There you go. Just saying, Gigi just sharing that she doesn't like confrontation because of what she's experienced, but
Yeah.
prayer does help her get through it.
Yeah. And so,
And God shows her how to address it.
and look, Gigi, still go get a counselor and deal with confrontation. Just tell her, I just want to deal with confrontations, period. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can decrease that and actually be around people that's doing confrontations, and you still can keep your peace while they going through it, because that ain't your problem, that ain't your business. You see, so I don't want you to avoid it. I want you to deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then my pastor saying that she counsels too, because she sure
Ooh,
does. She's helped me.
come.
So yeah,
Listen,
she
one
helped
of
me
the
a whole
therapists
lot.
that I coach is a Christian counselor, and her main thing she loves to say is, when you feel like prayer don't work, therapy does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they work together. So
They
she is a
definitely work
Christian
together.
counselor, and she loved me, my cousin self.
I had something I wanted to say and I completely forgot about it. But if it does not come, okay, that's okay. I think I got it. I got it now. But
Okay.
anything else? So if anybody else has have any questions for therapist Glendora, you know where to find her stuff at. You know where to find the book that she talked about, right? The Dear John letter. Go there. If you purchase it, she'll give you the number, and you guys can talk and laugh on the phone, or telehealth or video, HIPAA compliant, all that good stuff. So you know where to find her at. You know we're going to email Tiffany Haddish. We're going to get on her fan page and say we got somebody who looks just like you, needs to do stand up with you. So maybe we'll get a finder's fee that we can. We'll just
Hey,
for Glendora. But
yes.
I thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I thank everybody for listening. Next week, we got another very special storyteller, and I think she's still on here right now, but she is going to be joining us. Miss Anika is going to come next week, and she's going to share her story. So, as always, I appreciate her for being on here. But Anika next week, make sure you come back, everybody who's on here now, and so we can hear Anika share the story that she has to share from her. So we're Detroit. How you do Michigan like this? And we're I don't know where Detroit and Flint, but they're right next to each other. So it's kind of like the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, Detroit, and Flint. That's how they roll. So
So they're
maybe
not really that close to each other, though.
they're not that close. They're a little bit further. Okay, maybe like an hour apart.
More than an hour.
Maybe like an hour and a half.
Okay, just let it go.
The same. But Pastor said she's flying to see you.
Yeah, I know. Pastor honestly, I wish I could just listen to one
Yeah,
conversation. Pastor, you can have one.
yeah. We need an audio clip. We need an audio clip of
Pastor, you can have your own.
we need an audio clip of Glendora in session so we can laugh along with it. But
No, you have your own and just out.
uh-huh. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank everybody for watching. And we are definitely going to be back next week. Anika's going to be on here, and we fired up to hear her story just the same. But Glendora, thank you. You helped us a lot. You made us laugh, and we appreciate you. But you stay on for 1 second, okay? Everybody be blessed, and we'll see you next week.